So you've started the hard journey of trying to play Claw in Call of Duty Mobile. Well, I'm here to give you all the tips and information you need to start that process as smooth as possible. We're going to go over the HUD setup you want for both tablets and phones, and also some easy tips and tricks that are going to help you along the way. Now, there's no easy quick guide on how to get good at Claw. It's going to take a lot of practice, but these things are going to hopefully speed up the process. First thing we're going to talk about is how you hold your device. So whether you're playing on a large tablet like me or a phone, the most important thing to do before you even begin to set your buttons in your 4-finger HUD is to work out what's a comfortable way for you to hold your tablet or phone. For me, this was a struggle when I was learning because I wasn't holding my tablet the same way every time I played, and that leads to inconsistencies because your thumb and finger will be in different places on the screen every time you use it because your hands didn't start in the same position. So the first thing I do is pick up your device and find where it comfortably sits in your hands. Everybody has different hand sizes and different finger lengths, so find where the tablet comfortably fits in your hand, or if you use a phone, where the phone comfortably fits in your hand. Next, make sure your fingers are comfortable. You're playing 4-finger Claw. If it starts to hurt your fingers, your gameplay is going to suffer. So you need to make sure that your tablet is comfortable in your hands and your fingers aren't strained. So the next thing we're going to talk about is more along those lines of not straining your hands while you play. You want to arrange all your buttons in a way that matches the biological functions of your hand. Now, what I mean by this is that your fingers, when you're holding a device, naturally go in circular motions. It's harder for them to push out and down than it is for them to go around like this. So you want to set up your buttons in a way that it's easier for your hands to naturally move. So here you can see on my HUD that all my buttons are in a circle motion where my finger can easily rotate around. If you play on tablet, this is just a lot of trial and error. However, if you play on a phone, I would suggest trying different phone cases. For me, when I play on my S21 Galaxy, I play with a thicker phone case just because the screen size is a little bit skinnier, so it makes it easier to grip onto the phone comfortably. So definitely try different things like that, maybe even pop sockets and different cases until you find something that's the most comfortable. Okay, now let's get onto the HUD and where I want all your buttons to be positioned. So number one, the first thing that everyone is going to learn is movement. So with your movement stick, my logic is to make it as small as possible because this is going to increase your strafe efficiency. So when your button's larger, it takes a bigger distance for your thumb to swipe from one direction to the other, so from strafing left to right. So the smaller the button is, the quicker you'll learn to strafe. I chuck it in the middle of my screen because I use these other settings. I'll pop up on screen now. So basically, those settings allow me to, wherever I tap on the screen, the joystick will move there, but the visible joystick will stay in the middle of the screen. So any movement that I'm trying to learn, I can actually watch the joystick and learn from the movements that the joystick's making. This is really important because if you're learning advanced slide cancelling techniques, it's really beneficial to actually be able to see the joystick and how it's moving so that when you do it right, you actually know what you've done right. So just change these two settings and that's what's going to help you out with that. Okay, now let's talk about firing. The first thing you want to work out is it comfortable for your left finger to shoot or your right finger? This is completely personal preference. For me, I've always, since way back, Bullet Force and PUBG Mobile, used my left finger to shoot. So I always use my left index finger on any HUD. But again, it's whatever's comfortable for you guys. So work out which finger it's comfortable and then put that button in the spot where your finger naturally rests. So when you pick up your tablet, where does your finger naturally rest? And that's where you want your shoot button to be, because that's the button you're going to press the most often. So you want it in the most comfortable place. So once your shoot button's in place, then you want to think about the functionality of your HUD. Your shoot button is the one you're going to press the most often and is the one you want to be the most reliable, like the one you want to have easy access to the most. So my philosophy when setting up a 4-finger HUD is limit the amount of actions that your finger has to do, that your shooting finger has to do during an engagement. So if you look at my HUD, the only thing my shooting finger has to do during an engagement is shoot. The only time it has to do something another function like reload, I'm not shooting, or weapon swap, I wouldn't be shooting while I'm weapon swapping. So the only functions that I have with shooting are functions that don't require me to shoot at the same time. So if you look at the other side of my HUD where I have my ADS button, all those functions are functions that I have to do or I want to do while I'm shooting. So the generally good philosophy is you never want a button controlled by your shooting finger that you'd want to use while you're shooting. When you're first learning claw, it can be uncomfortable for your finger to have so many movements and functions that it's not used to. So some players at first, it's beneficial just to concentrate on aiming and shooting with your index fingers and don't worry about the other inputs until later on. If you're doing this, I would recommend moving your crouch and jump closer to the corner of your screen where your looking finger can quickly tap them. Especially if you're a gyroscope player, this can help you learn a lot at the beginning. Now going on with Minimap, if you go into basic and scroll down, you'll get to Minimap Settings. Now this is really important because this is going to help you further customize how your Minimap looks on your device. So if you're a tablet player, I would copy these settings because this is perfect for tablet. But if you're a phone player, I would probably mess around with the opacity and the scale a little bit. But the big thing you want to look at is map zoom. So you can see when I've maxed the map zoom in, it gives me a smaller view. Then if I fully reduce this, it gives me the most amount of view. So if you're on a phone, I would probably bring that about half. But if you're on a tablet, bring it the whole way out because it gives you the most perspective you can. And obviously the more perspective you have on your Minimap, the easier it is. So there you have it. Hopefully now you have all the tools required to go out and practice playing with your 4-finger claw and get as good as you wanted to. Now, remember, it can be a frustrating process at the start because it's going to feel so foreign, but keep persisting. You will get there in the end. Drop a like because it helps me in the algorithm and a comment if you have something to suggest for the next video or a useful tip on using 4-finger HUD. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.